personal life was like, okay, I'm trying to prioritize me. I'm trying to prioritize this relationship and work and get onboarded. And now I got, another team that's now attached to me. I felt like life was just coming
Mm-hmm.
like head on. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? How do I balance this? And for me, when I am anxious or when I feel like it's just so much coming at me, I'm very like quick tempered with it. But also, like, these people are like looking at me like, well, what did I do? You ain't do nothing, but it's just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like most people feel that way when they're balancing a lot of things and they feel like one thing is pulling more at them than the other. You can easily start to feel like your temperament is getting short and all of that.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to Between Friends. I'm your host, Anthony, and my lovely co host, Nikki.
Hi.
Hope everyone is doing well today. And thank you once again for tuning in to our podcast. And if you like what you're hearing, what you're watching, hit the subscribe button below. Let's all become friends, right? Let's all become friends, right? Now, Nikki, before we get started, I know that you are not feeling your best, right?
Yes.
And you told me you just rolled out of bed to do this show. So thank you for fighting through. I hope you are feeling a bit better. And my question to you is, what the hell did you catch from the kids' school pickup?
I wish I knew. I have no idea. It started slow. I thought it was allergies because Florida has officially reached allergy season, but it just kind of turned into a head cold that turned into a chest cold, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm here. That's all I can. Thank God I'm here. It wasn't COVID, so hey.
It's not the vid. Well, that's good. That's good because my first thought was she got the vid. You know, she got the vid because you were telling me you had a head cold. Then it was your throat was hurting. Then your stomach was hurting. I was like, man, this thing is traveling. All right, it started up here, then went down here. So, but I'm glad. But I'm glad you here. I'm glad you here.
I'm glad it stayed here and then come out here. So
Ooh.
it was just a cough. I'm good with that. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love and concern that you're showing right
I mean,
now.
I was really concerned, and I was really concerned.
Uh huh.
But Nikki, today we have a treat for our listeners and
Yes.
viewers. Yes,
Yes.
actually, we actually have our first guest on our podcast today. So, damn it, make some noise, man. We have our first guest.
Woo!
We have our first guest.
Yes.
And our guest today is none other than Miss Lauren Ware, who, as I told you, Nikki, I affectionately call 15. She's from Chicago. She loves to travel the world. And Lauren she works in the business sector for a Fortune 500 company that we
Awesome.
were that we will not name today because she told me she used to work at the black building, but now she works across the street at the white building. So I don't know, but she told me for this company, her role for this company is chief of staff. Uh, what I love about her, she's an advocate and a role model for young women who are becoming adult age and want to live their very best life. And what she try to do is she try to provide help to uh, provide the necessary tools and resources that they may need to enter that adult space. You
Okay.
know, Lauren is very passionate about living a very soft life. Uh, so she says, she says she's a reformed people pleaser
Oh,
who now lives a life of healthy boundaries. And this young lady has no boundaries when it comes to me. When it comes to me. When it comes to me. And seriously though, what I love about her is her affirmation that she recites on a daily basis. She says I am a very blessed girl living a very blessed life. And to know that and to understand that about yourself says a lot about her. And that is awesome. So again, let's put our hands together for my friend, the show's friend, Nikki's friend, everybody's friend, Lauren Ware.
welcome.
Now I don't know about everybody's
Yeah.
friend,
Okay, I
but
should let me
yeah.
dial it back. Let me dial it back. My friend, the show's friend. Well, she calls me
Selective.
friend
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
She calls me friend sometimes. So, yeah. So, Lauren, welcome to our show, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm so
Oh, that's
excited.
awesome. That's awesome.
I didn't even think you would ask. Can I say how or the name I affectionately call you? Can we put that out there?
Yes, please. Yes.
It's between
The people want to
friends. It's
know. Yeah.
between friends. I call Anthony, Tony, Leroy. Like Leroy S. Brown from Meet the Browns.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Tony, because we met in church,
Mhm.
right? He would always come suited and booted, all of that. But he always wore colors. Now the colors sometimes win, sometimes were a little too much, in my opinion. So he gathered the name Leroy from Leroy S. Brown from Meet the Browns.
wow.
That is my affectionate name for
Well,
him.
Cora. Okay,
Oh my
y'all better
goodness.
stop. Y'all better stop. But Lauren, to get started, uh, I stated earlier that uh, you strive to live a very soft life.
I do.
What exactly does that mean? A soft life.
So I adopted the trend soft life. I don't know if it's still a trend, but it was a trend at one point all over social media, a woman living a soft life. And I think it has a negative and a positive, linking together. Social media allowed it to be more of like luxurious. So it's your Instagram girls that's living their soft life with the luxury items and the resources and all of that stuff and the resorts and trips and all that. But for me, when you look at the definition of a soft life, it's all about ease, like dismantling the whole struggle life and operating from a place of ease to where you have more of a positive mindset and you end up living more of a positive life. So when I say soft life, that's what I've adopted. Like I legit go every day like, okay, well, if this situation happened today, it just happened today. I give it myself 24 hours to get over it, move on, and back into a more positive space. So I like the positivity that a soft life provides because it brings ease into my life.
That's awesome.
I
That's
absolutely love that because and I love that that was something that was in your motto and your saying because, like, I just recently started researching it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and because it still is a thing, it's a trending thing. And I ran into all sorts of soft life definition. There was clearly a lot of, oh, my handbag, my purse, my makeup, my this, my jewelry. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't, maybe I came to the wrong place. I was like, this isn't what I was looking for. But I started finding other women throughout there who were like, I just want to be
Mm-hmm.
more positive. I want to give myself self affirmations. I want to, do better for myself. And that's on that same self love kind of journey. Um,
Yeah.
there were some who were doing it that almost seemed like I'm a damsel in distress. So I'm doing this so that I can get a
Mm-hmm.
man. And I'm like, no, that's not, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's not. we're doing. So I love to hear your take on it. That's awesome. That's really awesome. It kind of lines into also what you do for a living. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the new trend that I just saw like last week is now the relaxed woman. I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to adopt that next. I'm a relaxed woman too.
What is a relaxed woman? What is that?
And so the relaxed woman is similar to like the living the life of ease and all of
Okay.
that, but the quote came from a woman who highlighted that she always saw a successful woman. She knows that kind of
Mhm.
woman. She's always been around women who were anxious and women who were just, doing everything, being everything for
Okay.
everybody. But she never really engaged or saw in her life, her upbringing, a relaxed woman, a
Mhm.
woman who took care of self, a woman who knew how to prioritize others as well as herself instead of not putting herself all the way at the bottom of the
Okay.
list. A woman who decided that she wanted to, live a life more so of ease, but at the same time, this relaxed woman is just as ambitious. She's unapologetic about it. She's unapologetic about taking up space in the world. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I like
Yeah,
that kind of woman.
nice. That's really nice.
As you guys can see, I am very quiet at this present moment
Oh, because you
because
can't
I do,
relate.
yeah, I feel left out. I need to live.
You can be a
I
relaxed
need to
Living a
live
man.
soft
relaxed
man
man.
life. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a relaxed man right now.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
don't want to
Yeah.
be a soft man.
yeah, no, no, yeah,
He
no,
could never. He could never.
no, I don't want
Leroy,
to.
If you know
yeah,
Anthony, he
Leroy can
could
never.
never.
Oh, so you gonna adopt that nickname too? Okay, all right, all right. This might be the last podcast, folks. All right? This
Oh,
might be the last podcast. So, along those lines, with a relaxed life, a soft life, and I know a lot of times we, both men and female, look for inspiration, role models as to what we strive to be in life. So, with you trying to do that soft life, relaxed life, is that something that you also attribute to some of the women in your life, or is it more so just the social trend, or just the way society is moving right now?
I think it's a combination of both, honestly. Like when I read, not necessarily talking about the soft life part, but the relaxed woman part, I agreed with that author who was saying all the things that she knows. I know anxious women. I know women who have been super apologetic about, what they wanted to do in life, certain choices and situations that they came across, women who felt like others first, me last. Like I know all of those women, but I agreed with the author, a relaxed woman, that's not really out here. Because I mean, given that us as Black people, especially growing up, it was you always saw big mama, mom, grandmother took care of everybody first, right? And then last.
Hmm.
I think it's okay to be a person who desires to help others, but not at the detriment of yourself or your health. And I think that's a controversial topic because people will look at that as selfish. And living in softness, living in a relaxed life to where you operate in a way that prioritizes yourself too, I don't think it's selfish, but that's controversial.
Yeah. Someone asked me, I believe I was having this conversation with a friend last night, and they asked me, do I care what people think about me? Right? And
Can I answer
no,
for you?
I, I
As
had
we
to,
both start smiling as he's
Right, right.
no, no,
Me and Nikki looked at
yeah,
no,
each other like, who gonna go
seriously,
first? Now tell the
I
truth.
really had to think about this. As much as I
Yeah.
would love to say that I don't care about what others think, but
Hmm.
subconsciously, and maybe not even subconsciously, I do worry about how people perceive me, right?
Mm.
And I use the example of when I see an old friend and they like, man, you still look good. You still look young. You know, you didn't put on any weight or anything like that. And I always think, yeah, I'm working out for myself, but I love those compliments,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So so we do, as you said, we do care. We do worry sometimes of how we are perceived.
Yep.
So sometimes we we go overboard to please
Hmm.
others.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what I love about what you've been reading is that yes, take care of yourself.
Hmm.
Put self first. You are priority. You know, because if you don't take care of yourself, who will? Right? Who
Right.
will? So
Yeah.
no, so
Yeah.
I guess I'm starting to get this whole relaxed man mantra.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know?
I will say you really understood the people that were already like maybe on that kind of trend or looking at prioritizing themselves, not at the detriment of other people, other things when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Mm,
The people who could not like sit with themselves, couldn't be in the house for however long, this virus was going around, to me, said a lot about what you prioritize before the pandemic versus
mm.
during, and even still after.
That is true. Because I remember during the pandemic, uh, an emphasis was placed on my marriage, right?
Mm.
Whereas now you're seeing this person almost 24/7, right?
Oh, we're gonna pray for your wife.
Whereas, whereas you didn't see,
I feel for her.
no, this is real because you didn't see the person as often as we
Mhm.
did because
Yeah.
we kind of live separate lives, right?
Yeah.
You went to
Hmm.
work, she went to work, and now everybody's working at home. Um,
Yeah.
so you are seeing this person on a constant basis, and
Mhm.
now you kind of have to relearn. Hey, I do live with someone. I don't live here by myself. You know, so yeah, so you kind of had to pivot a bit to realize that hey man, sometimes, and I know we're talking about prioritizing ourselves, but sometimes there's others that need some affection and some attention too. So you have to balance that priority out, right?
Yeah.
You have to balance that priority out.
How do you, and with talking about balance, how do you balance that personal soft life with your job, with your corporate job?
I feel like I'm learning. I'm still learning in that
Mm-hmm.
space. And I say I'm still learning in that space because the company that I'm with now, it's only been going on 2.5
Okay.
years. So when I started with them, I was on one team working in global supply chain. I loved that team. They were like family, like truly embraced me coming in, and I hit the ground running then. So at that time, my personal life, I was in a relationship, so trying to juggle, trying to, get acclimated and get on board with the company that I started with. And then it quickly pivoted. Like 6 months later, I was balancing like two teams. And this team, the second team that I was balancing, had a vice president attached to it because his team was going through a bit of a like reorg, if you will. And so I was balancing two teams. Personal life was like, okay, I'm trying to prioritize me. I'm trying to prioritize this relationship and work and get onboarded. And now I got, another team that's now attached to me. I felt like life was just coming
Mm-hmm.
like head on. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? How do I balance this? And for me, when I am anxious or when I feel like it's just so much coming at me, I'm very like quick tempered with it. But also, like, these people are like looking at me like, well, what did I do? You ain't do nothing, but it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people feel that way when they're balancing a lot of things and they feel like one thing is pulling more at them than the other, you can easily start to feel like your temperament is getting short and all of that. And it's been that way for a bit, because then I went from fully transitioning over to working with that vice president and leaving my first team that I started with to another team, stealing me from him, if you will. And that team landed me in the C suite. So I'm like working with the CEO, I'm working with senior leadership now. And that transition went
Okay.
quickly. And I'm just like at the middle of that, I'm still like trying to balance my personal life, relationships, community, church, like all of that. And it's like a lot. So I feel like it's an ongoing for me. Like I say all that to say it's ongoing for me. I try my best to put in my calendar refresh weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just like don't do nothing. Or I do whatever it is that I want to do. Whatever it is I didn't get to do, like that's my weekend to like do it all. My phone be on do not disturb. My people got to call me twice so that the ring can go through, cuz
Yeah,
I
I've
just feel
that
like
has
I need
happened to
that.
me. I've called and the
Listen.
phone.
She did that on purpose. That wasn't a do not disturb. She just like to hit.
I Nikki, guess what? I believe you on that one.
I was like, yeah, nope.
Yeah, ignore.
Really, I don't be ignoring, but I do need that time. So that it's ongoing. I will say that at the end of the day, it's ongoing for me to learn how to balance it all because it's
Yeah.
For
demanding.
sure.
Personal life is demanding. There are things I want to do, places I want to go, friendships that I've fostered for so long that I'm like,
Mhm,
I don't want to throw these people to the
mhm.
wayside, but work is calling, and work is now heavy on travel, different things going on with that. So I get to travel on that end. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
ongoing.
But I mean, kudos
Now,
for you for sorry for cutting you
no,
off,
no,
but
go ahead, go
kudos
ahead.
for you for taking the time to say I have to schedule in me time.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that those who are your friends will understand that you have to do that. That you actually are balancing yourself by doing that because you cannot pour from an
Mm-hmm.
empty cup. You know what I mean? Um,
Exactly, exactly.
that goes back to the soft life, the relaxed life, the making sure you're taking care of yourself. Because, excuse me, mental health is important.
It's
It's
real.
important. So
Yeah.
with all of that you have coming at you, give you
Mm-hmm.
so much kudos because people are still learning how to do that
Yeah.
right now, and we've lived. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
For sure.
That's
Now,
true.
now, along those lines, do you find some aspects in your life get the short change, like friendship, church, relationship? So I know we're trying to
Yeah.
find that delicate balance, but do you think there's some aspect of your life that get shortchanged?
I think so. I feel like at least I can say from last year to maybe probably present right now, my relationships, like dating life, has taken the short end of the stick. And in some cases, like catch ups with girlfriends and stuff like that have been rescheduled multiple times. Like my best friend, I just saw her last month, and it had been since her birthday was in September. We got together before September, so I would say like end of August.
Mm,
And that was a long time. Like her and I would do like monthly catch ups and all of that, but life happens, right? She's busy, I'm busy, and when we caught up, it was just like, I love those
Yeah.
relationships that people say when you catch up with true friends, like it's like time never passed.
hmm
Like we're not out the loop or anything. Though I was out the loop on her being in a relationship, but I was so excited. I was so excited. She waited to tell me till she was like in my face in person. But I feel like my dating life has gotten the short end of the stick. I feel like some guys that I have connected with really didn't understand the me being gone perspective. I think, and this is just my opinion, men are more accepting to their busy schedule than their partner's busy schedule. So if they're more in at home in the state than you are, it gets a bad rep for
Mhm.
women. Like I have had people tell me, guys have told me like, oh, you say you're going to, let's say, Miami or whatever. You're going overseas or something like that for work. Is it really for work? Like, who you going with? Like, that kind of thing. So I'm like, it's a
So are you saying
challenge.
that
It's a
we're a
challenge.
little catty?
I don't consider it catty. I feel like it's a mindset. Like, men are accustomed, or some men, I won't say all, some men are accustomed, depending on their caliber, they feel like the woman should be a little less busy or have a little less more of a demanding life than they do.
Yeah,
Thoughts
I
on that?
guess, I guess, yeah, I guess I can't speak for all men,
Mm-hmm.
but I would probably make a general statement. And I guess most of us probably were raised in a home where we saw mom regular
Yeah.
basis, and dad was the one that was typically out the house. And for the role to be reversed, it's probably still we're trying to get used to it. So yeah, so I don't know if it's just like I really need your attention right now, or I don't believe you per se. I just think it's because we're probably just so used to seeing the women in our lives home, and for us to see a corporate woman, doing her thing, it's like okay, that's a little foreign, But I think more and more men are starting to get used to the idea that hey, I got a powerful woman and she's going to be away. She's going to be on business trips. She's going to take lavish trips with her friends. So we
Are
got
they lavish?
I mean,
I'm not.
I
I'm
felt a
not
little
gonna
right,
put.
emphasis on
right.
that
I'm
one.
not gonna put nobody' business out there because I don't want to gossip.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh.
gonna keep it to myself. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Nikki, Tony likes to call me Clearport, just so you know. Every time I see him, it's not, hey, Lauren, like, what's going on? It's, hey, Clearport. I'm like, really? Can't tell you nothing.
You know? Now I know we're talking about dating, right? Let's stay on that right now. What would you say is your ideal, like the idea of a perfect date? What's the idea of a perfect date for you?
I did have a perfect date for me. This is this is funny because I legit just told my sister the other day, like, I think I'm just gonna be out here just because what I consider to be a great date, I feel like my age group considers boring.
Mm,
Okay, so what is
So
that? I'm curious.
a perfect date for me is a nice dinner. Like, I like jazz, I like, R&B, like all of those things. I'm not a club person, so I got to emphasize that I'm not a club person, I'm not a day party person, but my friends, the age group I've been dating in, like, still like to do those things. I'm just like, no, like, that doesn't work for me. So I love trying different restaurants. I love food, so I love trying different restaurants. I also wouldn't mind like a cooking class. Like, if you set that up as like a first date, like, I love to cook. Maybe you like to cook or don't know how to cook or whatever. I think that's a great date for me. Or if you're like, let's go to a sporting event. I love basketball. I love watching, football. It's not my favorite. Like, basketball is my favorite, but I will go to those things. I probably wouldn't do baseball. That's a little boring for
Yeah.
me. But I would do like sporting, something interactive. Like, I've done axe throwing before in the whole rage room kind of thing. Like, that was great for me because it was right after work. It was a long day. I needed to let loose.
she
So
owns a bet.
taking me to a
Yeah,
rage room and some axe
yeah.
throwing was
Listen, I'm
great.
here for all of that. That sounds like I need to take a trip to Chicago. And Lauren, I need to hang out because she just named all of my perfect. Listen,
Exactly.
look.
Put some like thought into it,
Yeah.
not your typical like, let's go to the club and like let's, do those things. Like, I'm not into that. Like, even if he like going to the spa, let's go to the spa. Something
Yes.
relaxation.
Yes.
Like, allow me to get out of my head and just be
Hmm.
present.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So a perfect date is picking you up and taking you to Cheesecake Factory, and then going for a massage afterwards.
You
Uh,
just had to throw Cheesecake Factory in there, didn't you?
Like I
okay.
love the cheesecake, but I see what
And
you
Uh-huh,
doing right
you
now.
see,
and
you
Okay,
messy,
hold on,
right?
hold on.
You
She does.
messy.
you being
There you are. There you are.
messy.
There you are. You know he is.
I like the cheesecake. Don't put me out there to try to group
He got
me
good
in with
food.
the other ladies. That's like, no, don't you take me to the
Listen,
cheesecake
listen. The
factory.
Cheesecake Factory has good food and cheesecake.
It
I'm saying.
do. I would
Listen.
go. I ain't gonna be bougie like that and be like, well, no.
Okay.
I would go.
Okay. Well,
But that's not what you
I
would do.
got you. Well, I'm not gonna be messy. I'm not. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay on my side. So, is there like a deal breaker in a relationship?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I just feel like I'm gonna get crucified for this. Are we talking any deal breaker or
Well, it's
my
your
deal
deal
breaker?
breaker.
Your deal breaker.
We're talking to you. We're not talking
Hmm.
about. I'm not talking to Nikki because I don't know. Her deal breaker.
Listen, don't-
Okay, I probably am gonna get canceled after this one with y'all.
Go
I
ahead.
probably won't be invited back. But honestly, my deal breaker is kids.
Kids.
oh.
Yes. And I say that not having had such a traumatic experience. If it wasn't for that experience, and it was our first date, actually, it was our first date, and I was open to dating, someone with kids. I never had dated someone with kids before. But honey, after that first day, I was just like, yep, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. The date was nice, but it kept getting interrupted.
Hmm.
It was, one of those situations to where maybe it was fresh for her and him. I'm not going to just put it on her, for her and him. Maybe it was fresh. And it was just interruption after interruption. By the time we got to the fifth interruption, I was just
Done.
like, and the fifth interruption was, the baby had to be rushed to the emergency, which turned out to be
Oh.
false. But it was just the, trying to get him out of that space of being on
Oh.
the date.
Yes.
So let me just use any and
Yes.
every excuse. It went from the baby needed Pampers to the baby ended up in the
Wow.
hospital and really wasn't in the hospital.
Wow.
I was just
So the
like,
interruptions wasn't from the
okay.
child, it was from the baby's mother. Oh,
Yes, because the baby was a baby.
Mm,
The baby was maybe like 5 or 6 months. So that's why I say it probably was very much so still fresh.
mm,
He probably was circling the block,
mm.
unbeknownst to
Yeah.
me, but still, getting out there dating people.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, listen, you were good to go on that date I don't, I think for me, if I were single, that it would be a deal breaker that you have a 5 month old and we're on a date.
Right?
Like,
mm,
this baby is fresh. I don't know. So, I mean, kudos to you for
Yeah.
that. But I don't know. I wouldn't say eliminate the kids. Like, I think it's important that the guy has boundaries. He obviously
Mm-hmm.
establish any boundaries, and that's important
Yeah.
when you have children. Even if it was where he was divorced or the spouse passed away, because then the children can interrupt the date. Well, that's
Right.
on him to establish
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. And I mean,
Yeah.
not for nothing. And oh, this is probably going to sound really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. But put your phone on do not disturb, because if something was happening with the baby, she has to go to the hospital. There's nothing he could do about it anyway. You want to know,
Right.
but you on a date.
Right.
And so you have to decide either
Yeah.
you're going to be on your date or you're going to be with the baby. And if you want to be with the baby, then you shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be asking me out.
I mean, that's true. And I feel like from that moment, I was like, from every other dates I've been on since then, first date at least, I like to just meet
Mm.
you. Like, that worked well for me because when he had to get up and leave, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
My car parked downstairs so I can go home. It's not like you have to drop me off and then go do all this. I enjoyed myself by myself. I'm glad he finished paying for everything because I enjoyed
get,
it and I moved
get that.
on
Get
and
that
he
in there.
lost my
Yeah. Get that
number.
in there. He paid for it.
Yes, thank
well,
you. You
that's
needed
the date.
to.
So. Yeah, you're not gonna get Team Man on this one.
Your interruptions, your problem, pay the bill.
Yeah, no, no. What's the
Yeah.
man perspective for that, Tony?
I don't really believe there is one. You know, brother man was bold. Because I just don't believe. Well, I've never been in that situation, so I can't really speak on that
Mm-hmm.
situation, and this would just be my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just recently had a child with a woman, I just don't believe that
Yeah.
you would be dating right
Yeah.
now. But that's just me. I
Mm-hmm.
might be the responsible one. But I would never. Well, again, I've never been in that situation, so I can't really speak on it. But just giving my thoughts, I would say that's probably a no-no for me. You know, I think I would be along the line trying to work it out with my child's mother. But again, we don't know the dynamic of that relationship. It could
Mm-hmm.
have been a toxic one where he just had to get out of that situation. So that's probably why he's not with with the child's mother. So again, there's just so many things that could have been why he was on this particular date. But I would not have been on that date, knowing that I have a 5-month old at the house. You know,
And listen, I learned about the age on the
on the
date. Like I knew he had a child, never really, said anything about
How old?
how fresh, how old, how
so
new
he was
things
he was being
were.
sneaky.
Yeah, you was. Yeah, you
Yeah.
was.
He was
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
sneaky.
So
You know,
I'm like,
Yeah.
so,
there's more here
yeah.
to the
Oh, for
story
sure,
because you keep getting
for
interrupted.
sure.
Like, so it just pegged me to ask, like, so how old is the child? Like emergency, like was maybe playing football or
Yeah,
something like that. And I learned about the age, but I will say that situation definitely
Sour.
made that my deal breaker, if you
yep, yep.
will. And again, I'm open, but it has to be a special kind of circumstance. Like at this point in my life, if you have kids and they're like adult
Mm-hmm.
age, okay, cool. I'm open
Mm-hmm.
to that. But if we got to kind of go back there, it's just a no.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
we are definitely asking. Hey, how old are the kids again? You know,
Right.
And
are
is
you
and are you
sure?
guys not in a relationship
Yeah,
anymore?
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's another thing too that
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about. That hey, he probably was still in the relationship and didn't care to share that information. You know, 'cause
Mhm.
there's no way in hell I'm on a date and my ex is blowing up my phone. You know, and so I don't know. You know,
Red flag.
Yeah.
red flag. Okay, you know.
Right.
So on that one,
Foul play.
it's a 3-0 no. So
Right.
I'll agree with you guys on this one.
Yeah.
I'll agree with
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
on this. So
Yeah.
I know we talked about dating and red flags,
Hmm.
and so we know that you love to travel, uh, and you are a hard worker, um, living a relaxed life, and so forth. How big is one's spirituality when you're looking for a person? How big is that?
I think it's big. I'm very big on my faith, right? I'm very active in my church. And I feel like, one, I always say, when my girlfriends and I have this conversation about faith and dating and all of that, I'm not just speaking of someone who just like goes to church, because I believe you can go to church, still not have a relationship with God, whatever, or who your higher power, whoever you believe in. And I also believe that people who have a great walk with God may feel some kind of way about the church. So they may not be, every Saturday or Sunday, whatever day that they worship, always going. For me, it's big. Like, I need to know who you serve. Like, who is your source? Is it just you? Is it God? Is it, Buddha and all these other different people? I just need to know who you serve. Like, that's big to me. And I feel like that's a bit of a challenge too, when it comes to life and dating and all of that, because there are people that you come across that say that say one thing, and then they believe something totally different. But faith for me is extremely big.
Okay.
Do you have to be, for you, is it big that you're the same faith or that they just have a relationship with God?
For me, it's the relationship
Okay.
aspect. So I Tony don't really get me canceled here. My religion, okay, my religion has its challenges, in my
Okay.
opinion, because I feel like I'm born and raised, in Adventism, right? We worship on Saturdays and all of
Same.
that. But I've also seen them to be flawed, and the things in which they put emphasis on, in my personal
Hmm.
opinion. You Yeah, I'm really about to be canceled here. Why are y'all doing this to me? But I gotta be honest and speak my
Yeah.
truth. But I feel like, you know, in my faith, I've seen it be flawed. I've seen it, have its highs and have its lows and all of that. But I also seen how it treats
Hmm.
people, and I feel like if you are in a relationship with God, certain things you do and you don't do. And in treatment of how you treat certain people, how you treat genders, within my faith, I've seen it be contrary to what we
Hmm.
profess, if you
Hmm.
will.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you on that. That you will be canceled. Uh, but no, but, but, but in all seriousness,
I could be a one hit wonder. I'm all right.
no,
I'm all right with
I
that.
definitely agree with you on because I think we all three of us. I don't know if our listeners are aware we all are of the same faith.
Yeah.
Uh, so I do understand what you are saying when it comes
Hmm.
to women,
Mm.
and plus, and I don't know if it's just our faith, but it just seemed like
Church
in,
period.
in all church,
Mm.
it just seemed there's
Yeah.
more women than men,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
there's tend to be older men at the church. So
Yes.
for a single woman looking to, as they deem to be equally yoked, since we
Right.
all,
Yeah.
they want you to marry within the religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a woman like yourself, I'm like the numbers are slim,
Yeah.
right?
They taken,
Yeah.
okay? They
So
already
they're
taken.
slim.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
not only that, within our church, if you serve, right, you never
Yeah.
go visit other churches. So if
Right.
your church don't have any male figures, how do you meet men of your
True.
age or women of your age if you always
Yeah.
have to serve on that particular day?
Yeah.
So
You
so
got to go to
Yeah.
Christian.com.
oh, AdventistMeet.com.
You know
But
they have a site?
hold
They
on,
have a site.
Really? Oh, I
Yes.
didn't know.
we're over here poo pooing it and we're laughing at it.
No,
I
but
do
they
have I
do.
do have a cousin. That's how she met her husband, and they've been married for
Okay. Okay.
approximately
Listen, I need those
15
statistics,
years.
right?
Yeah, they've been married for
I need
15
those
years.
stats.
I don't know. I don't have any of those stats because I just don't do stats, or I just don't follow that website. Adventist.org, I think. I don't know it. I don't know it. I don't know it. I'm
It
just
was because they. I mean, they have the. Yeah, the Adventists have one, and then what's the other one? Christian Mingle or something like that.
There is a Christian
Yeah.
mingle.
No,
Listen,
are you
I
open
asked
to
for
that
the
though, Lauren?
stats
Lauren, are
because
you open to dating? Because that's not the
okay,
conventional
see,
way.
I was just
Yeah,
about
that's
to
not the
go there.
conventional way,
Like
right?
lately, everybody's been probing me to like expand your
Hmm.
horizons and possibly get on. Now, I've said that getting on a dating site is like my last
Hmm.
resort. But the stats right now that I'm seeing with people are like, okay, maybe turning me that way a little quicker
Mhm.
than I anticipate, but
Now,
I'm open to it.
why are you hesitant? Because you're a
I'm
traditional person, or
hesitant.
it's not the
Yeah.
traditional way, because at the end of the day,
It's a little sketchy too, because you could get catfish.
but
It,
why? But no, seriously, seriously, why
listen.
is it sketchy though? Because even if you meet someone at church or at
Mhm,
work or at
Mhm,
the gym,
mhm.
you
mhm.
still got to get to know that person, right? So if you meet that person online, what's the difference? Because guess what?
So,
If you like this individual, guess what? We're
mhm,
going to exchange information, and then we're going to move offline, right? Or
mhm,
off the computer. But
right.
everybody FaceTime today, everybody. So what's the difference?
For me, I am traditional, like how you said. I'm super traditional. I've met, the people I've been in relationships with, I've met them through family members introducing, through friends, interactions of places I've been. But when it comes to the dating online part, I'm an energy person. So if I meet you out and about, or I meet you through friends or family members or whatever, once we're in each other's presence, I can feel your energy to be like, this for me, this not for
Mhm.
me. Or gather information from those people that may know you the best and see, if they really feel like this is a fit before we like link up. When you're online dating, I can't feel your energy. I
So
got to take your
so
word for it, and
swiping
I'm a
so
action and
swiping
word
left.
person.
So swiping left, you're not going to feel that energy. You know?
No, I'm not gonna feel that energy. And you can be online, like totally
Yes,
fabricating, and you show up at this
yes.
first day as Buddy the Walrus or something, and you don't look like your pictures. Like I'm gonna be pissed. You got interest up here, and you ain't nowhere near interest.
Right. Because I mean AI is now a thing. So I can actually talk to you and it not be me for real, for real. I
Yep.
mean, and then yes, in person, there's the certain things that you have at risk, but I just feel like there's always, for a female, a woman, in saying female, for a woman, there's always that risk that is some cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You always hear the horror stories about, oh, she met this guy online, they met in person, and they unalived her. I mean,
Well, it could be the same thing for the guys. You
it
guys remember?
could be,
You
but
guys remember the movie Friday? She told me she looked like Janet Jackson, but she looked like more like Tito Jackson.
well, I mean, and that has happened. That's what I'm saying. Fishing is a
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to be like, let's go on a group date.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm that person where it's like maybe you think we're on a solo day, it's just you and me, but the
And,
girlfriends and the
uh,
people hiding in the
yeah,
background, they eating
Really?
because people
people are
like
crazy.
you just
Yeah.
don't know.
Ah.
People are crazy. Instagram, I feel like, is another dating site at the moment. You meet people, they slide in your DMs and stuff like that, and they still
Uh,
be not there.
that's a whole
So,
other podcast
mm,
Oh,
show.
yeah. Yeah, Lauren going to come back and tell us all about her DMs in the
listen.
next episode.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
Listen.
this this show is about to get them numbers up,
yeah,
honey.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh, a easy one, a easy one. And I know you love watching movies. What's your
Hmm.
favorite movie of all time and why? I,
Oh, that's so
whoa!
hard. I gotta choose just
I
one.
actually thought I knew it. I actually thought I knew it.
Okay, I gotta rank them. Okay, I'm gonna do top
Top
three.
three. Okay.
Uh, Number one of all time is Brown Sugar. Like that. That's just ultimate.
Uh-huh.
Two, Jump in the
I thought that was
Broom.
one.
No, that's two. Three would be Love Jones.
Oh, see, that's my number one.
So you guys, do you see the trend here? Hmm.
What's the
All of
trend?
It's
them
love stories.
love soppy, love, get the girl.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
love love.
But those
Oh,
are classics, though. That's like black love,
They
which is,
are.
listen.
here I thought you were gonna put like Soul Plane,
No.
Norbit, you know.
What?
Now I do like
Norman's
Norman.
funny.
Norman is hilarious.
Hey,
Norman is hilarious.
no, that's awesome, man. So
Yeah, I love love. Black love especially.
okay, so along, you just open up another can. You say black love. Are you
Hmm.
open to dating outside of the culture?
Yes and no. Okay, I'll say yes and no. I feel like yes because the ways of the world right now. There are a lot of interracial couples, right? And I love to see some of that
Mhm.
too. But at my core, I'm all about the black love because from a cultural and a understanding standpoint, a raising of children and all of that, I look to black love for that as opposed to interracial couples. I think interracial couples are beautiful, but I also believe that they do have their challenges when it comes to children and family values and how you want to, bring about the next generation. I think that's very challenging, especially given the day and age in which we are in. Like, I look at Tay Diggs. He made a great point when he was talking about how he's, raising his son, and son is biracial,
Mhm.
right? However, any given moment, if his son ever gets pulled over, his son is not going to be technically looked at as biracial. He's going to be looked at as a black man. So I think yes and no. I would do it, but when it comes to like marriage, like really settling down, I look to it to be from a black love standpoint of view.
Okay,
Okay.
I can respect that.
So
I can.
I'm gonna switch away from your dating personal life and
No, no.
gotta give her a break.
Yes, give me a break. Before I say something that's gonna get out there for
Yeah.
real.
So I want to talk more about traveling. Like I love to travel, and you mentioned you love to travel, and we know that Uncle Leroy here likes to travel.
Oh
So
yeah,
for
all my tips from him.
you, what is your most favorite place that you've gone to?
Most favorite place has to be Turks and Caicos. I love Turks
That's
and
on my
Caicos.
bucket list.
Dubai definitely was a complete vibe. I did Dubai for my 30th, and that was
Nice.
just a time. Like, but my girlfriends and I are all in the same age, and we're all fall babies.
Mhm.
So we did Turks and Caicos that September for my best friend's birthday, and that was the ultimate time. One, I needed, that break. I really needed to get away because I had just left my job. I like legit resigned and was just like, I don't know what's coming next, but we just about to see. Like that was my one time I really like stepped out and risked it all, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And I'm like, this trip came right when it needed to come, and I still went. Like I contemplated, like, do I go, do I not go? But I still went and had the time of my life. So that's the ultimate for me.
So with traveling, and I know that you have your program dealing with, young, you deal with young black girls, or you deal with all cultures of girls? How does that go? And then what would your advice be to those young girls when it comes to travel?
It's mostly been our black girls, right? But doesn't necessarily just have to be in that
Mhm.
realm. I've talked to, many different girls of different races, right? When it comes to traveling, I feel like that is a necessity, in my opinion, for all of our girls coming up adult age to really get out there and do something you've never done before and go to places you've never gone before. It's a different kind of awakening that you won't necessarily get when you're just at home. And I know that to be true for me. I was given my first opportunity, never been to New York, but I love
Mhm.
New York. That's my home away from home. Given the opportunity to go to New York, I worked alongside this lady that my aunt had put me in connection with, and she was doing New York Fashion Week. Always wanted to go New York Fashion Week. She's like, if you can get your
Mhm.
ticket, I got you a hotel room. But if you can get your ticket, you can come work alongside of me backstage and all of that stuff. I'm like nervous, but I'm not going to turn down the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I had just became of age. I think it was like 19 or in my early 20s or whatever, but I'm like, I'm going. Got my ticket, navigated a city that I didn't even know. Like, got in a cab. Like, everybody talks about, like, navigating New York City and all of that, like the cabs and all of this stuff and all the people and this hustle and bustle and all that. So I was a little nervous. But I'm like, we're going to figure this out because I need this opportunity. And from there, it awakened me to be like, I need to go other places, see what the world has to offer. And at the same time, I'm discovering who I am. And I think that's necessary
For
for our
sure.
growth.
And again, I know we're focusing on young ladies. I don't think it's just young ladies. Also for our young men.
Mhm.
I've spoken to young men here in Chicago that has never been to like downtown Chicago, and they live like literally like
I see.
4 miles
Yeah.
away from downtown Chicago, and they're like, we've never been to like downtown Chicago, so they just know this little box,
Hmm.
and sometimes we got to get out that box to truly realize our dreams, our hopes,
Hmm.
all of our aspirations. And if we get pigeonholed and just stuck in that little box of ours, we'll never fully realize our full potential.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we have to get out that box. So yeah, I like you, and you know that I love traveling, and if I wish I got paid to travel.
Listen, if you find that position,
Listen,
let me know so I
Yeah,
can.
let me know too.
We
that's
want to all work for the same company.
no, no, I'm talking about pay to travel, but not doing any work. Just the travel.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Let us
Yeah,
all
Yeah.
know. We'll apply
you know,
together.
there you go. Just be
Yes. I'll test out the
there.
Listen, we
sauce.
come as a team.
You
You want me to
Yeah,
try your food?
there
right.
you go. That would be the ideal life. And
Yeah.
my 6 year old, now she has the bug. She loves to travel herself. She loves being on the plane. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like, Daddy, spring break coming up. Where we going? Last year we went to Dominican Republic. Where we going? I'm like, who is she? She
I
got
love
money.
that. I love
Yeah.
that.
So no. So we have to introduce traveling to folks that we meet, younger folks that we meet,
Mm.
younger folks that we mentor, uh, just to get them out their comfort zone, their little box.
How do you, and this question is to both of you for both girls and boys, as for our community with young people, because they think that that's not something they can afford. That seems like a dream that's so far away. It's not something they can obtain. They can't reach it. And of course, when you look at TikTok, they make it look like this is just the luxury life. How is that a conversation that you have with the young people amongst your community to show them, hey, you can travel, you can go places, you can do this, and give them the steps? Like, how do you think how's that a conversation that you have to introduce them to that travel life?
I think it may need to start with, like how Tony just mentioned, if you've never been downtown but you live in the Chicago area, or you live, in Florida or wherever you may live, and you haven't really taken the opportunity to explore your
Hmm.
city, there's so much you can do, in your city that allows you to see more than what you're constantly every day around. So I would say starting there works because that's a little, probably a bit more affordable than just going for the gusto and deciding that you want to go overseas or something like that. But there are different, like, Airbnbs, there are different sites. There's Air Affordable where you can pay as you go. There's so many different resources out here now that allow you to take on these
Hmm.
experiences without it being a detriment to your parents' pocket, your pocket. Most kids that I know that are coming of adult age are, working, and they want those experiences. So they like, let me go get a job. Let me go, put this aside every paycheck, whatever, because for my birthday, typically they try to do it around their birthdays or
Hmm.
friends' birthdays. They want to go
Yeah,
somewhere. But I think exploring your city isn't bad either if the means, don't
for
match up.
sure, for sure, and I agree with you. I also think that I have a friend where she plans out her travel year every year, right? And what she does is, starting in January, she would start with, let's say, I'm just using this arbitrary number. She would start with $100, and every week she doubles it. So this week it's 100, then it's 200, then it's 400, then it's so by the time your trip come around, you have the money. And again, you don't have to start with 100. You can start with $20. You can start with $10. But just know the exact amount that you need for that travel trip. And you know what used to scare me a little bit about travel? I used to think it was so expensive. But the more you travel, the more you find out that our dollar is really strong. So depending on where you're going, the most expensive thing you're probably going to spend on is the flight. But once you get there, it's very inexpensive. So the more you educate yourself on different places, different currencies, you will know and you will come to find out that traveling is not as expensive and it's not something that you can't do or it's only for the rich and famous.
Hmm.
So, so yeah, that's how I
Okay.
feel about travel. You know.
Okay. So I want to segment back into Lauren. Tell us about what you do.
So my role is chief of staff, right? And I like to tell people like, oh, well, what's chief of staff and all that. So when you think about in the business sector that I work in, I work with the board of directors for this company. And working with them as the chief of staff, it really is different committee meetings that I sit on, and it's all encompassed around strategic alignment. So you want to know how these Fortune 500 companies are, performing at their highest. It's really based around a person who sits at the table, which would be myself, and understands the strategy, the vision that they have for where they want to go, how they're going to get there, what steps need to be, taking place, but also what are those key initiatives. And those key initiatives are now spread across different functions. So there's a legal function. In my case, in the business sector I work in, there's a supply chain function. There's a function that handles like company culture, so diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's another key initiative. I'm sitting in these different meetings with these different people, gathering up their knowledge, but also gathering up how they see the vision for their specific department, how that rolls up to the CEO and the senior leadership team, but our board of directors. And our board of directors, we really work to understand risk management. So each of these people are sitting at this table with myself telling me, I am chairman of so and so company, and this is how our company mitigates risk. The next person, we have, she's a chairman for the WNBA. Their entity, right? They're a whole business. They're a whole, empire of themselves. So therefore, how do you guys work and mitigate risk? How do you guys bring in diversity, equity, and inclusion into the mix? How do you perform at your highest? My role as the chief of staff is to really understand all of that and bring back to the table each time that we meet. These are the key initiatives. These are the things we said we were setting out to do. What are our votes on these things? What are we pushing forward? What do we think is the highest of the priority for this year and the years to come? And how do we set ourselves up for the future? So it's a wide
Mhm.
range in this role, but it really boils down to strategic alignment in business and understanding that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, as if you can think back when you were 15, 10, are you in the space or are you doing exactly what you inspire to do when you were a kid?
Yes. And I say that now because years ago I probably would have said no. So when I started out, like when I was young, I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician, right? Growing up, like, oh, I love this, I love that. You see different movies, you take on different things, and you think you want to be these things. So, pediatrician was the first one. That went out the window. Then I got my degree actually in fashion merchandising and retail business. And from the trip I was telling you guys about, my first trip to New York, the woman I worked with actually ended up asking me to be her executive assistant. And it was from there that she made it so clear to me. She's like, I know you want to do, at the time, fashion, right? But if you understand the business side of it, you can go further in your career if you want to stay in the business sector or with fashion, or if you want to transition over into something else. If you learn the skill sets that I'm willing to teach you from a business standpoint of view, you can go and do anything. And I gathered what she said, and I really took that to heart. And I worked under her up until she passed away, because that really hit home for me. I'm a person where I'm not necessarily the person who loves school, right? I did what I needed to do to get on up out of
I think
there.
that's most of us.
Right? Like, I just did what I needed to do to get out of there. So I wasn't the really, like, A's and B's, some C's along the way. That was me. But I loved skills. I loved learning. Like, if you put me in a room with people, I'm more of the observer than the person who's speaking. And that's because I'm learning what's going on around me. And that was something I learned at a young age, being around older people, being around, her in particular. And for me, I tried the whole fashion thing, right? But that hit its plateau. Like, I couldn't go any further than the height I had reached. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, because where is the next? I'm always reaching for the next. I'm always looking at growing. So I'm like, if this is all there is, I need to transition. So when I transitioned, I preferred the business aspect of it. Even when I was working in fashion, when we sat in meetings, I enjoyed that. Like, that was the highlight of my day. Sitting in meetings, talking to people about what we're about to do next and the future of these things and how we want to do it and all of that. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. The day to day portion, not so much. So when I transitioned over into just business, like, that took me in many different directions, that offered me up to many different companies that I worked with, and I got to experience many different things that also opened me up to travel. And I think that's another way for our young people who may not necessarily have the personal means to travel. If you get in your career with a company that will pay for you to travel,
That's
listen,
beautiful.
do
Yeah.
it. Do it. Like, I love what I do. I love the people I work alongside. I love the fact that I get to travel. And these people, they spend, okay? So it's always top of the line, it's top notch. And I'm like, now y'all done opened my eyes to a whole new world. Like, I love this for me.
Yeah,
It's not on my dime. And I love that too. So thank
Yeah,
yeah,
I know
you.
that's right.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So, what drives you to get up every morning? Because I remember your affirmation, I am blessed. I am a blessed girl living is it a blessed life?
Yep. A blessed
Yeah.
life.
So, what drives you?
Honestly, that drives me. I feel very blessed to be where I am now. It took 10 years to get here. A lot of, like, going through many different things, working in different areas and experiencing different parts of life. Some I could probably do without, but I appreciate them. I count them as blessings
Hmm.
now. But that's really what motivates me to get up every day. Like, I'm blessed. Like, it took a while to get here, but the life that I live now, like, I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't trade it. Like, let's just add to it. Like, let's not take away from this plate. Let's add to this plate. I love that for me. And like I said, I love the people that I get to work alongside every day. I love the flexibility. I think that's one thing that I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus, for, like, the pandemic. Like, it opened people's eyes, business wise, to, we don't have to be in the office every day to show that we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
work. Like, we can do hybrid schedules here, and that works well for me. So I love that. I that allows me to have the freedom that I feel like I'm not caged, because I'm a person where I don't like to be caged. And when I feel like I'm being caged, I feel like I need to pivot.
I'm a bird. I
So,
need to fly.
yes, let this bird go
I wish
free.
Yeah.
I could fly. Let me contemplate.
Well, I think we should go out with this one last question. we've learned quite a bit about you, and I think I've probably knew 90% of it, right?
Mhm.
So, for our listeners, and probably myself and Nikki, what's one thing that no one else knows about Lauren? What's the one
Oh
thing
God,
that, yeah,
really? That's the
yeah, that's
question.
that's that's the
we
question.
we want to end
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, that's the question we want to land
I
on.
was wondering like, well, what's the big one? What's the big
Yeah,
one?
Oh,
yeah. I want to know.
That's a safe question. That's a safe question.
one thing nobody else knows about me.
Maybe your sister. Since she knows everything.
She do. She's the
Okay.
vault. We gonna go to to the grave with the things we know about
Like you
each
can't get in
other.
that box. That's
Oh, that box.
Mm-mm,
Oh,
mm-mm,
she'll
mm-mm.
really be canceled then, huh?
Oh, that's a tough one. Something that nobody else knows
That you would
about
like to share with
me
us. You know,
that
that you
I
would
would
like to
like
share
to
with us.
share. I don't know if this is like juicy or nothing, but
Ooh!
it's
gosh.
not gonna be. Okay,
Ooh!
let me just put that out there. It's not gonna be.
I heard juicy.
It's not gonna be. But I decided not too long ago, and only honestly, only my sister knows this of when I am going to retire.
Mm,
And it's something that I'm not technically necessarily sharing because of the sentiment behind it. So my mom passed when she was 48.
mm,
I felt like that was extremely young, right? And I know my mom was a hard worker, all of these different things. She was one of those people, how we talked in the beginning, who put everybody else first, herself last, all of that. I want to retire at a specific age in my 40s, and it's really going to be on the cusp of possibly before
mm-hmm.
48 or right at 48 to really, I don't know. In my mind, it really is a setting of getting out before I feel like I'm taken down, if you will, or whatever. But yeah, that's no one knows that that's what I'm planning right now, like setting things up right now for myself to really get out in my early 40s and live the rest of my life. My mom didn't get to do it. There are places she wanted to go, things that she wanted to do, things she wanted to get for herself that she never got. And I'm making it my mission to check those boxes for me in honor of her.
That's awesome.
I do want to ask one question of you. You mentioned that you were reading something earlier from an author. So
Hmm.
can you give us what that title and name is so we can share that? Because that sounded like that was a good read, and I'm all about the books. So
So I love a good book. Right now I'm reading, it's called The Pivot
okay,
Year, and it's by Brianna West. But The Relaxed Woman came from Cole
okay,
Hobbs.
Nicole
She
Hobbs.
authored The Relaxed Woman.
okay, okay. All right, I'll have to check that out. Definitely.
Yeah, so I may have to give it a Cliff Note version of it, or audio
Okay,
book.
sure.
Right. You can read it for yourself and apply it
Right.
as the relaxed man.
Uh, no, man, this was very enlightening. I enjoy our conversation. Um, and again, as I stated earlier, I've learned a little bit more about you, the person, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to
Of
sit
course.
with us and
Yes, it
just
has been a
Same
pleasure.
it
here.
has.
Pleasure. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys for
much.
having
You're our
I,
first
me. I'm probably a one
now
hit wonder after
I
this,
did
but
not
that's
appreciate.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh
you
no,
won't be
no,
back.
no, no,
You won't be
no,
back.
ma'am. You on the return guest
Yeah,
list for sure.
you
Yeah, there's so many more questions now that I know you. So much more. So much
you
more.
giving them my nickname that you
Yes.
call me. Yeah, you are definitely canceled.
Oh,
Uh,
Leroy, don't do me
on
like
that note,
that.
Listen to him. He's on behalf of this.
on
Don't
that
listen to
note,
Uncle Leroy. Don't listen to
on
Uncle Leroy.
that note, Again, we want to thank our guest, Lauren Ware, for joining us this afternoon. We are Between Friends. See you guys next week.